There are moments when the night seems darker than the darkest hour ever written in history. A world full of voices telling us that hope is foolish, that trust is naive, that belief is a weakness. And yet, it is in such nights, when every whisper seems to deny the light, that faith is tested, not abandoned. Friends, faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is the courageous defiance of despair. It is the decision to trust in what cannot be fully seen, to hold on when everything within us begs to let go. In a world that often feels faithless, we must remember faith is a choice, not a feeling. Feelings are fickle, storms rage, circumstances change, yet a choice can anchor the soul. It is in this choice that we discover the quiet power of trust, a trust that transforms fear into courage, weakness into resilience. Faith also requires perspective. The challenges we face are not accidents, they are chapters in a story far larger than our understanding. To keep faith is to see beyond today's darkness and believe in tomorrow's light, however faint. Yet faith does not flourish alone. Surround yourself with voices that lift, challenge, and remind you of the truth. Community sustains faith when the world whispers lies, and never forget faith must act. Belief alone is a seed in the soil, but action waters it. Small steps of courage, kindness, and perseverance turn hope into reality. So, in the face of a faithless world, do not surrender. Choose to believe. Anchor yourself in enduring principles. Seek the company of the steadfast. Act boldly in the power of trust. And remember, even in the darkest night, a single flame can guide you home. Faith is not naive. Faith is strength. Faith is courage. And faith is the light that even the shadows cannot extinguish. Every day we wake up to a world that seems increasingly skeptical, where cynicism is louder than hope and doubt shadows every step. People question motives, doubt goodness, and often expect failure rather than success. We see headlines filled with betrayal, injustice, and cruelty, and it is easy to feel that faith is a luxury we cannot afford. Friends may let us down, institutions may fail us, and even our own hearts may whisper that trust is foolish. In such a world, keeping faith can feel like swimming against a relentless current, where every wave seems determined to pull us under. Society has trained us to measure reality by immediate results, visible proof, and quick gratification. When life doesn't deliver instant answers, many conclude that belief is irrelevant, that hope is wasted, that conviction is naive. Yet, this is exactly why faith matters most in a faithless world. Seeing the darkness around us does not mean we must surrender to it. Recognizing the brokenness does not mean we stop striving for light. Understanding the reality of doubt is the first step to rising above it. We must accept that skepticism is part of human nature, that fear and uncertainty will always accompany us, and that the world may never fully validate what we hold dear. To remain steadfast is not blind obedience, it is deliberate courage. It is the willingness to trust even when trust seems foolish, to hope even when disappointment surrounds us, and to act even when the outcome is uncertain. The faithless world challenges us because it tests our inner strength. It exposes the fragility of our assumptions, and it forces us to choose between despair and determination. Human beings are wired to seek proof, to demand visible signs, but true faith asks us to see beyond the immediate, to hold on to what is unseen, and to believe in what has not yet arrived. Every instance of betrayal, every moment of doubt, and every failure in society becomes an opportunity to strengthen our conviction, to anchor ourselves in principles that no circumstance can shake, and to cultivate a resilience that thrives precisely because the world around us doubts. Faith is not something that comes and goes with our emotions. Feelings are unpredictable. They rise and fall like the wind, often leaving us stranded when we need guidance the most. To rely solely on feelings is to build a house on sand, fragile and temporary. True faith is a deliberate choice, a conscious decision to trust and move forward, even when uncertainty surrounds us. Choosing faith means standing firm when fear whispers that everything will fail, when doubt questions every step, and when the world shows signs of collapse. It is saying yes to hope, even when your heart says no, choosing courage when the mind urges caution, and holding on when letting go feels easier. Faith as a choice demands consistency. It asks us to reaffirm our trust daily, not because life is perfect, but because life is real. It is not about waiting for perfect circumstances or clear signs. It is about walking forward despite the unknown. Choosing faith also gives power over despair. While emotions can be hijacked by negative news, personal disappointment, or the actions of others, the choice to believe remains within our control. It is the inner anchor that refuses to drift with every storm. This choice transforms ordinary moments into acts of courage, smiling in adversity, helping others in the face of personal struggle, speaking words of hope when all seems lost. These are all expressions of faith as a conscious decision. Human sociology shows us that people are shaped by their environment, by what they see others value, and by the pressures of social expectation. Choosing faith is a rebellion against the easy path of cynicism and skepticism, a commitment to higher principles even when society applauds doubt. It is a declaration that we will not be passive observers of life's hardships, but active participants guided by trust. The strength of this choice multiplies when shared, inspiring those around us, creating ripples of courage and belief in communities that might otherwise succumb to fear. Every choice to maintain faith, to act with hope, and to persevere despite inner or outer uncertainty becomes a testimony of resilience and conviction. Perspective shapes how we experience life and how we respond to challenges. Two people can face the same situation, yet one is crushed by it while the other grows stronger. Human beings naturally focus on the immediate, the visible, and the urgent, but faith teaches us to see beyond what is in front of our eyes. Every difficulty, every setback, every moment of despair can be understood in a larger story if we choose to shift our perspective. When life feels unfair or overwhelming, the question is not whether we will face pain, but how we will view it. A narrow perspective traps us in fear, regret, or anger, while a broader perspective allows us to see lessons, opportunities, and unseen support. Challenges are not random attacks. They are invitations to develop strength, patience, and understanding. In sociology, we see that people's responses to adversity are often shaped by the meaning they assign to events. Those who interpret setbacks as permanent, personal, and pervasive tend to feel hopeless, while those who see them as temporary, teachable, and contextual maintain hope. Perspective is also shaped by time. What seems catastrophic today may become a story of resilience tomorrow. Looking back, many of our past struggles appear as the very moments that defined who we are. Faith allows us to extend this principle into the present, trusting that even when outcomes are uncertain, there is value and purpose in the process. Choosing perspective requires effort and awareness. It is the conscious act of stepping back from the immediate storm to see the horizon, the wider patterns, and the unseen hand that guides us. It turns small victories into sources of encouragement and setbacks into teachers. Perspective transforms ordinary suffering into extraordinary growth. It reminds us that life is not a series of isolated events, but a connected journey. We influence the world not only by what happens to us, but by how we interpret and respond to it. The broader our perspective, the more we understand that temporary hardships do not define us. They refine us. They prepare us to act with wisdom, compassion, and resilience. Every trial becomes less frightening, every challenge less overwhelming, when viewed through the lens of enduring purpose and potential growth. In a world that constantly shifts, values and principles act as the anchor that keeps us steady. When circumstances change and opinions fluctuate, having a firm foundation allows us to stand tall without being swept away by every wave of doubt or criticism. Human beings are naturally influenced by what surrounds them. Society, peers, and trends can easily pull us in directions that feel right in the moment, but leave us empty or lost later. Anchoring in principles gives us a compass, a sense of direction that does not rely on approval, luck, or temporary conditions. These principles can be honesty, integrity, compassion, patience, or courage, qualities that transcend the fleeting and the superficial. They are not dictated by convenience but by conviction. When we face moments of challenge or temptation, values guide our choices, helping us act in alignment with who we aspire to be. Anchoring in values also brings clarity in times of confusion. When emotions are turbulent and fear clouds judgment, the principles we hold steady provide a framework for decision-making, allowing us to act intentionally rather than react impulsively. Sociology teaches us that individuals who align their actions with deeply held beliefs experience greater inner peace and resilience, even when external circumstances are unfavorable. Values create consistency in life, which builds trust not only within ourselves but with others. People notice integrity. Communities flourish when shared principles become a foundation for mutual respect and support. Anchoring in values also empowers us to resist cynicism. When the world seems faithless, when deceit and selfishness dominate, holding firmly to our principles reminds us that we are not defined by the actions of others, but by the commitments we honor. Principles act as a lighthouse in uncertainty, guiding our steps even when the path is unclear. They make our faith tangible, rooted in action rather than abstract belief. Every choice made in alignment with values reinforces our sense of purpose and strengthens our resilience. Human history is full of individuals whose adherence to principles, despite immense opposition, transformed communities and inspired generations. By anchoring ourselves in enduring truths, we create a life of meaning and stability, a life that can withstand the storms of doubt, fear, and societal pressure, and a life that radiates a quiet confidence that others can see, feel, and follow. No one thrives in isolation, and faith is no exception. Human beings are social creatures designed to connect, share, and grow together. When the world feels faithless, surrounding ourselves with supportive people becomes not just helpful but essential. Community offers encouragement when doubt whispers too loudly, and it provides perspective when our own thoughts trap us in despair. Friends, mentors, and like-minded individuals can act as mirrors, reflecting the strength and potential we sometimes fail to see in ourselves. Support is not only about agreement, it is about challenge and accountability. True community pushes us to live up to our highest ideals, to act courageously, and to maintain faith even when circumstances are discouraging. Sociology shows that people who have strong social networks experience higher resilience, emotional stability, and a sense of purpose. We are influenced more by the company we keep than we often realize. Being part of a community allows shared experiences to multiply in meaning. Celebrating victories together reinforces hope, and facing hardships together softens the weight of struggle. Supportive communities create a culture of trust where individuals feel safe to express doubts without shame and to seek guidance without fear. In such environments, faith becomes contagious, courage inspires courage, optimism encourages optimism, and small acts of belief ripple outward, affecting more lives than we can imagine. Isolation, on the other hand, magnifies doubt, fear, and despair. Without connection, even strong personal convictions can weaken under pressure. Community provides perspective, reminding us that challenges are not unique to us and that perseverance is possible because others have endured and overcome. Support can be practical, emotional, or spiritual, but its power lies in consistency and presence. Even one steadfast companion can make the difference between giving up and moving forward. Human nature craves recognition, empathy, and understanding, and these are the elements that communities offer. Faith is strengthened when it is not a solitary endeavor, but a shared journey. Where encouragement flows, lessons are learned collectively, and hope becomes a sustaining force. Every moment spent building, nurturing, or seeking supportive relationships reinforces our inner strength, showing us that even in a faithless world, the bonds we form can act as a lifeline, carrying us forward when the weight of doubt threatens to overwhelm. Faith is not meant to be passive. It is alive and dynamic, calling us to act in alignment with what we believe. Belief without action is like a seed buried in the soil but never watered. It has potential, yet it will never grow. Every step we take in trust, every choice to do what is right despite uncertainty, is an expression of faith made real. Human beings are designed to influence their environment, to create change, and to leave marks on the lives of others. When we act through faith, we bring light into darkness, hope into despair, and courage into fear. Action strengthens belief because it proves to ourselves that our trust is not theoretical, it is practical and tangible. Sociology teaches us that behaviors often shape attitudes as much as attitudes shape behaviors. When we act with faith, we reinforce our own conviction and inspire those around us. Small acts matter. A word of encouragement, a gesture of kindness, a deliberate choice to persevere. These are all ways to manifest faith in everyday life. Action also transforms challenges into opportunities. Obstacles that seem insurmountable are made manageable when approached with deliberate effort, guided by trust. Faith without action risks stagnation, turning hope into wishful thinking. Acting through faith requires courage, because it often means stepping into uncertainty, making choices that may not immediately succeed, and continuing despite setbacks. Yet every effort, no matter how small, has ripple effects. One compassionate deed can inspire others, one bold step can shift a trajectory, and one persistent effort can change the course of a situation. Communities thrive when individuals act on their beliefs, creating networks of support, encouragement, and resilience. Human sociology shows that collective action rooted in shared values has transformed societies, proving that faith expressed through deeds is a force capable of overcoming systemic doubt and hardship. Action grounds faith in reality, giving it form and impact, and it turns internal conviction into external transformation. Even when results are not immediately visible, acting through faith cultivates discipline, fortitude, and a deeper understanding of the principles we hold dear. Every deliberate step we take in alignment with our faith is a declaration that we are not passive observers of life, but active participants, shaping outcomes, uplifting others, and proving that belief, when combined with action, becomes unstoppable.